Michael, Trello, it's what I would see as part of a whole new generation of productivity tools. Tell me about how it came about.
It's about 5 years ago. My business partner and I were thinking about new products and sort of the problems that we were facing. One of the things that we had difficulty with was trying to figure out what was actually going on in our company. Like, a lot of people were doing work, but we were trying to get a very high level perspective on what was happening. It was hard to see that in all of the tools that they were using. So we started looking at what software developers were actually doing, because that's our background. And we would go around and we'd see these offices with big whiteboards, sticky notes on the whiteboards, and moving around. And it sort of morphed out of that idea. We said we could kind of take that visual metaphor and put it into software and allow everyone to use it, and so that everyone can get a perspective on what they're doing.
How has it taken off, like in terms of numbers of users around the world? Because, as I said, we've started using it quite recently, and I don't know how we're going to actually manage without it now. It's really good. But in terms of the usage impact it has had out there in the working world?
So we just recently passed 10 million users, probably adding about 120,000 people a week. So it's spreading really rapidly. We're seeing a lot of growth outside the US now. I think one of the great things about Trello is it's a collaborative app and people love it, so they're spreading it organically. They're telling other people, hey, you should use this, it's really cool. And so, we started from a core group of people that we knew, our background, mostly in the tech industry, and now we see it going out to all kinds of different industries: marketing people, HR people, sales people using it in their personal life to plan their weddings, their vacations. It's really cool.
Well, that's it. It's kind of, I see it as kind of like a to-do list combined with a whiteboard. It's almost like you can see things that are done, and everyone can see that tasks have been completed and what needs to be done yet. The actual learning curve for people, I mean, it's instantaneous. But if it's already that good and that perfect, how do you make it better? What do you think's coming for Trello? What things would you like to see added to it?
That's a good question. I think you hit on the one thing, which is that we wanted it to be really accessible for people, for everyone to understand. And that's partly why it's visual, why we use the metaphor of dragging cards around. It's very tactile in nature, similar to your Post-it notes on your monitor or on your refrigerator. And now that we have a lot of people using it in business, the next thing that we're looking at is how that dashboard essentially ties into all the other tools that you're using. So you might be using Salesforce or GitHub or Google Docs or Google Drive or even Dropbox, and how do all those things work together? You might be using Slack, for example, and there's sort of Trello plays this role of holding that plan, like where are we, what did we do, where are we going, and how does that tie into all the different tools that we're using to get that done?
Because that'd be the thing. I mean, I would think of it as almost like a sandbox where I could be seeing who's working on what, but maybe I could suddenly join in and work with them on a collaboration on Google Doc, for example. So do you see it becoming like the almost like a visual representation of the workplace, but in live time?
Yeah, I think it's basically your plan. Whether that's your plan for your wedding, your plan for your vacation, whether it's your plan for hiring your new candidate that just joined your company, or what are our company goals for this quarter. All those things that you sort of are trying to get your head around and wrap your head around when you're collaborating with other people, that's what it represents.
And in terms of the generation you're in, I mean, I see this, most of us went through the working world the last 20 years, working on Office, using PowerPoints, all these different technologies. And to be honest, there's a huge learning curve for a lot of them. Not everybody used everything that was there. But now there's a whole new generation of companies like yourselves. Like, there's Trello, there's companies like Rike, there's companies like Slack, Wunderlist, who were recently bought by Microsoft. This whole generation of companies that are making the most obvious things more accessible in the workplace. Where do you see this going next? What do you think this will evolve into? A whole new generation of work tools that people will evolve into, or do you think you'll all morph into each other? How do you see it turning out?
Yeah, I think the old model of Office where you had documents and you sort of passed them around to people, that fit a particular time frame when people had to go to their office to do work and sit in front of their computer that held all their documents. And now, you have your smartphone, you've got your tablets, people have their laptops. You're basically doing things all the time, and that accessibility means that we can start with collaboration first and then build the productivity on top of that. And so that's, I think, where we're coming from, is to basically assume everyone's connected. How do we make them more powerful in what they're trying to accomplish?
Now, in terms of your own business mission, you guys are based in Brooklyn. You've grown up pretty fast. In terms of the next objective for the company, I mean, are you taking on funding? Are you planning international expansion?
Yeah, we just launched in Brazil and Germany, Spain, and we did a big launch in France a couple weeks ago. So international is hugely important for us. We're doing really well right now. We're growing pretty fast, so it's a really exciting time for the company.
Michael, thank you very much. That was
Thank
great.
you.